Can you think of the #1 mistake that experts make when they go on podcast shows? The one big blunder that really turns a host off? Hi, this is Kathleen Gage with Power Up for Profits and the 100 Club, where we help experts get 100 podcast interviews in record time with a very systemized and strategic approach. The #1 challenge, the #1 mistake, the #1 oops that an expert makes is going on a show thinking that they're going to sell directly. Huge mistake. A show is not meant to sell. That's just a fact of life. Really, the reason you want to be on a show is you want to create value. For example, if I'm on a show and I'm teaching authors how to sell books, I'm not going to say, go buy my book and that'll tell you how to sell. No, absolutely not. What I'm going to say is I'm going to teach something that brings value. I'm going to share stories that give examples of how authors have sold books. And I may start with talking about your Amazon setup. What do you need to put on your author page? What kind of information builds your credibility as an author? That would be one thing that I could teach. Another thing that I could teach is, what do you put on your website? For example, you should have some really great information on your website that supports whatever your position is. It really positions your expertise. And it might even have a way for people to get on your list. Actually, that's a pretty darn good idea. Because the reality is as you create value for the listeners of a podcast show or the viewers of a podcast show, oftentimes while you're doing the podcast show, if they're on their desktop or their laptop, or they're even on their iPhone and they're in a situation where they can go on to Google or they can go on to Amazon, they can go onto your website, they're going to be checking you out. They're going to check your social media out. They're going to check your website out. They're going to check your Amazon page out. But for you to try to sell directly is a huge, huge mistake. The thing you want to keep in mind as an expert is creating value. What makes you the expert? What do you teach your clients? What do you teach your prospects? What is the information that you have that would be highly valuable to the people that are listening to you or watching you? Now, before we go any further, I really encourage you to subscribe to this channel, because every day I put up new content. Now, every day, Monday through Friday, I put up new content, and usually it's about podcast interviews. It's about how do you get interviews. It's about how do you shine when you're doing an interview. It's about what do you do on the back end. It's about how do you set up your foundation so you get the most value from the time invested in podcast interviews. So go ahead and subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification so that you get notified when a new episode goes up. Go ahead, subscribe to this channel. Just click the subscribe button. Now, when you're on a podcast show, again, I really want you to think in terms of how can you create lots of value, because the more value you create, the more valuable you become. Let me say that again. The more value you create, the more valuable you become. And so all that you can do to create value is what you want to do. This is Kathleen Gage with Power Up for Profits and the 100 Club, where we help experts get 100 podcast interviews in record time. And again, subscribe to this channel. Go out, look for lots of podcast opportunities. And if you're not quite sure what to do, I would encourage you to get my checklist. Just go ahead and click the link below in the description, powerupforprofits.com/checklist. That's powerupforprofits.com/checklist, and you'll get the checklist of exactly what you need to do to be prepared for lots of show opportunities. Have a great day.